Yeah, thanks, Nico. Again, first, thanks for the fans that traveled on a cold, wet, kind of messy night. Helped us a bunch. Obviously, wasn't our sharpest. I thought we actually, first 20 minutes of the game came out pretty good. Got our goal. It's a unique situation and a unique rule, and it was called the right way. Minus the fact that they should have at least gone back and given a yellow card. But in that instance, in the 15th minute, when you have a play that you could have a PK and a red card, you'd probably sign up for that rather than the advantage where Julian scores the goal. Like I said, they got it right, except for everything going back and giving a yellow there, I believe. But that's a unique rule and a kind of a weird one that I think any coach in the sport would sign up for the PK and playing up a man for that amount of time. Little thing doesn't go our way at that point. Now, we make a big mistake, lose a ball in a really bad spot, and give up a fluky PK. Then get caught in a transition at the end of the half. Don't do well on that goal. And then you have a unique second half in the moments when you obviously know what the other score lines are. As it gets to the later portion of the game, 75th, 80th minute, and you recognize you need 2 goals to flip it, and you can also concede 2 and then get yourself in some trouble and lose home field advantage. We were still trying to score, but at the same time, being stable defensively, which I thought the guys did a good job of. So it's a loss, but a loss that keeps us in home field advantage at Subaru Park, which is important. And it's against now the same team, which percentage-wise before the game started, it was most likely we would play New England. So now we'll be possibly 4 games in a row against them.
Thanks, Jim. Jonathan Tannewald?
And bigger picture, is this any kind of good way to end the season?
Yeah, I mean, it feels weird in that, you lose, but you do secure a top 4 spot. Of course, every time we step on the field, we want to win. We know we could have been sharper today in our transitions. Is it the wet turf? Is it the surface, not being used to it? I don't know. But we had a lot of moments, especially in the first half, where, good 4-on-3s, 5-on-4s from midfield that we're usually a little more clinical with, and we didn't really execute. So we'll take the home field advantage now. The 4th place spot is something that is still a good achievement, and we knew, playing in our home stadium was the priority at this stage.
Joe Tanzi?
Hey, Jim. I know when we talked earlier in the week, you could put a positive spin that you guys haven't lost many games in this stretch. How does it feel within the locker room? And there's been 1 win in 8, and you still have the 4 seed, but it feels, I guess, like a bittersweet way to end it on a loss.
Yeah, it's always tough to lose. Nobody wants to lose. The circumstances are the circumstances of the game. Again, Columbus had taken care of business pretty much at that stage, so we were down a goal. So again, you guys can do the math on what needed to happen and the likelihood and percentages of that. If you do throw numbers forward and go for a win in this instance at the end of the game in the last 10 minutes, and all of a sudden New England scores twice, I'd be answering a whole new set of questions. So a lot of unique variables go into this game on decision day, like they did for a lot of teams. Again, we put ourselves in a position where we play at home now against the good New England team, one that we know we can beat in our building, and one that we know we have to execute and be on top of our game to move on. So yeah, losing always feels bad. There's no doubt about that. I don't sugarcoat that at all. But now it's a new season. It begins a new season. We have I think 11 days before we play, so have the ability to now work on some things on the training field, which will be good with our full group, which is a real positive. And I know our group is ready to make a good run into the playoffs and go as deep as we possibly can.
Jose Nunez?
Hi, Jim. Sorry about that. Wouldn't let me unmute. Jacob Jackson, second ever start here in MLS, and now you're about to face him for his third, fourth, and maybe potentially even his fifth. What's it going to take to prepare for maybe challenging him more? He got away with only 3 shots on target. You also mentioned, not being used to the surface. What's got to change to maybe not use the turf as potentially a reason why the game's not going the way?
Yeah, and in our building, I think those numbers will certainly go up. We played in a back 5 today without Jose being on the field. Jose will obviously be on the field in Philly. We can change our shape and formation, and I think that'll lead to a lot more chance creation. We knew what we needed to do today. We still wanted to win the game. But again, still maintain that top 4 spot, which is important for home field. But certainly, yeah, Teston Jackson, a young goalkeeper who did a good job, has done a good job for them, is something that is certainly on our radar. We have to make it more difficult on restarts, on things like cutbacks and crosses and shooting and from distance, and testing him a little bit more. Even the goal Nathan scores is a good example, getting a lot of bodies in the box. That one is another one where it's like, I don't think we really know the rule. There's so much gray, and you say, did he have an impact on the play? I always say all 22 guys on the field impact every play at every instance. So it becomes this judgment call where Nathan's clearly onsides. Julian maybe jumps at a ball that's way over his head, and they make a decision that goes against it. So that kind of traffic, though, on that restart is a good example of what we need more of.
Thank you, Jim. Safe travels.
Thanks.
Jonathan Tannenwald?
A little bit at that point, not just Kai, and obviously Nate is not Olivier attacking wise. Are you getting enough out of your outside backs overall?
Yeah, look, it's a night where a team like New England, they wanted it to turn into an end-to-end track meet. And what wound up happening, a good example is the second goal. They actually counter our counterattack. So, they almost let you come a little bit. And then when Gil and Bo and Shankly get going, they're a handful in open spaces. So we made a mistake or two and got punished for it. But yeah, certainly, our wing backs and our outside backs, whether we're in a 4 or a 5, have to give us some attacking moments, have to give us service for sure. And it's not just crosses. It also maybe means joining in the box and shooting and attacking. So something we'll certainly need to work on. And we'll have a lot of days now on the training field with our full group for the first time in a while to get some things right. And again, I'll put this group up against anybody in our conference. There's no team that I think has run away and is clearly way better than anybody. So like I've said all season, we can beat anyone and we can get beat by anybody. And this will start the fun part. The real season now begins, and I like our chances.
I suspect not a lot of other teams are going to want to see what, given what we've heard from around the league. But I also remember you saying back in February when they announced this whole shebang that these teams aren't going to like each other very much. And these two already don't. So what's going to happen?
Yeah, by the end of each series, when you play a 3-game series, the familiarity, I'll just say, can wear on each other. It gets physical. You know each other well. We'll add an additional game because we just played them to finish the season. So again, everything gets ramped up, everything gets magnified now, and this is how rivalries grow into can grow into not hatred but a real dislike for each other. And when you see a team, whether it's Red Bull, whether it's New York City FC, whether it's Cincinnati, I think we have good healthy rivalries with all those teams, and New England is one of them as well. So this will be a great series, one where we have home field advantage, and we have to utilize that. We know Subaru Park, how good we are there. They're also very good on their home field. So it could come down to who executes in their home stadium, and hopefully we can be the better team.
All right, due to travel constraints and time constraints, we'll take a last question with Todd.
Thanks, Nico. Jim, the last 4 out of 8 games, you guys have dropped points from winning positions. How concerned are you as a coach with that? And what can you and your staff do to correct that issue?
Yeah, look, I think historically over the last several years, we've been really good at closing games out. Obviously, when you take a lead on the road, the chances are few and far between to get the second goal usually. So, tonight we conceded probably too quickly after we scored. Again, it's a little bit of a bad turnover that leads to a little bit of a fluky handball with Damien, and we get punished. So eliminating those mistakes is something that you really need to do in the playoffs. And I agree, we do need to get back to